In 2001, when Delta Force operators inserted into Tora Bora to hunt Osama bin Laden, every operator carried a personal contingency fund of $10,000 in U.S. currency alongside gold coins and bundles of Afghan currency. Not for comfort, but because their commanders knew that in the mountains of eastern Afghanistan, a stack of $100 bills could buy what airstrikes could not: loyalty, silence, and survival. Former Delta commander Dalton Fury confirmed that cash purchased Afghan militia fighters at $200 per man per day, turned tribal leaders into real-time intelligence sources, and kept extraction routes open when every other system failed. The U.S. military would eventually push over $3 billion in physical cash into Afghanistan, but it was the $10,000 in an operator's pocket, untraceable, immediate, requiring no approval chain, that repeatedly made the difference between mission success and body bags. Every Delta Force operator tasked with a direct action or special reconnaissance mission carries a personal contingency fund of approximately $10,000 in U.S. currency. This is not a field improvisation or a matter of individual preference. It is a standing directive, written into the classified operational planning of Joint Special Operations Command. The money is not drawn from regular military pay or unit petty cash. Instead, it is allocated through a classified channel that bypasses standard Department of Defense finance, moving directly from JSOC's operational budget and reporting at the highest levels, including the National Security Council. The funds are issued in a mix of denominations, often supplemented by local currency and, in some cases, gold coins. Operators receive formal instruction during the 6-month operator training course on how to carry, conceal, and deploy this money. Concealment methods are drilled until automatic. Bills are sewn into hidden pockets inside uniforms, laminated against sweat and water, or wrapped in plastic and taped to the body. Some operators use custom pouches built into plate carriers or boots. Others distribute funds in small packets across their gear, ensuring that no single loss compromises their entire reserve. The goal is to make the money accessible under stress, yet invisible to a casual search. Training goes beyond simple hiding. Operators are taught how to spend cash discreetly in hostile environments, how to negotiate under pressure, and how to recognize when money is the only tool that will open a door or save a life. The $10,000 is not a rumor or a relic. It is a codified tool, as essential as a rifle or a radio, and every operator is expected to master its use before ever deploying. The roots of Delta Force's cash carry doctrine reach back to the shadow wars of the Second World War. In occupied Europe, American OSS agents and their British SOE counterparts moved behind enemy lines with escape and evasion kits designed for survival and improvisation. These kits held more than compasses and silk maps. They included foreign banknotes, gold coins, and even gems, all small enough to hide but powerful enough to buy a train ticket, a forged document, or the silence of a border guard. The British SOE pioneered the use of gold sovereigns, prized for their universal value and anonymity. These coins could open doors when paper money failed or when trust was in short supply. After the war, the British Special Air Service carried this philosophy forward. SAS operators in the deserts of North Africa and the jungles of Malaya were issued gold sovereigns before missions, a tradition that became institutional memory. The logic was simple. In a world where radios might not work and friendly forces could be days away, cash was a tool of survival and influence. In 1962, Charles Beckwith, a young American Special Forces officer, joined 22 SAS on exchange. He trained, patrolled, and planned with men who carried gold sewn into their kit as naturally as a map or a sidearm. Beckwith saw firsthand how portable wealth meant autonomy. An operator could buy food, medicine, or a way out if everything else failed. When Beckwith returned to America and founded Delta Force in 1907, he codified this practice. The new unit's doctrine required each operator to carry enough cash, typically $10,000 in US bills, sometimes supplemented with gold coins, to buy options in the world's most unpredictable places. The lineage is unbroken, from OSS silk maps and SOE sovereigns, through SAS escape kits, to the classified directive that shapes Delta Force missions today. A Delta operator steps into a city where the rules are written in whispers and favors. The cash isn't just for emergencies, it's the grease that keeps the mission moving. A few $100s can get a battered pickup and a driver with no questions asked. When a teammate needs antibiotics or a wound stitched up in a backroom clinic, cash speaks louder than any ID card or promise of future payment. At a checkpoint, a folded bill does more than a badge or a threat. It turns suspicion into a wave through. Sometimes, a $500 tip to the right informant buys a name, a location, or a warning that saves lives. Local currency matters too. Small stacks of Afghani or Iraqi dinar can buy meals, a night's shelter, or silence. In denied terrain, money is the one tool that always fits the lock. Whether it's a bribe, a buyout, or a quick fix, the cash in an operator's kit is as versatile as a multi-tool, ready for whatever the next street or mountain pass demands. In the winter of 2001, Delta Force's A Squadron moved into the mountains of eastern Afghanistan under the call sign Task Force Sword. Their mission? Close in on Osama bin Laden at Tora Bora. The terrain was hostile, the roads mined or blown apart, and every movement depended on the goodwill or greed of Afghan militias. American dollars became the real fuel of the campaign. The CIA funneled in $70 million in cash during the first year alone, with estimates reaching $3 billion by the end of the war. Afghan fighters could earn $100 to $250 a day, a fortune in local terms, to switch sides, block escape routes, or simply keep watch. But the flow was never smooth. Delta operators like Dalton Fury often found themselves bridging gaps, pulling from their own concealed stashes to pay a driver, secure a safe house, or buy critical fuel when official channels stalled. The cash in their kit was more than contingency. It was the difference between access and isolation, between closing the net and watching a target slip away. At Tora Bora, stacks of bills bought alliances, but could not always buy loyalty. Bin Laden vanished into Pakistan, proving that cash could open doors, but not guarantee what waited on the other side. In Iraq, the rules of war changed with the city lights. By 2006, Delta Force and JSOC units were conducting as many as 300 raids a month, a tempo that turned Baghdad and Mosul into a nightly chessboard. Each operation moved at breakneck speed and cash moved just as fast. After a raid, a Delta operator might hand an envelope containing $2,000 or $5,000 to a local informant whose tip led to a capture, or to a family whose home was torn apart in the search for a target. The money flowed in every direction. Quiet compensation for civilian losses, instant rewards for actionable intelligence, or hush payments to keep a neighborhood from turning hostile. General Stanley McChrystal, who commanded JSOC during this period, once described the system as capitalism at gunpoint. The logic was simple. In a city where trust was scarce and time was measured in minutes, cash was the only language that guaranteed results. Every envelope, every payout kept the machine running, proof that, in the urban battlefield, influence could be bought faster than it could be built. A Delta operator crossing a river at night in hostile territory feels the weight of a $5,000 pouch pressed against his ribs. The bills are vacuum sealed, tucked behind body armor, and split into smaller packets, one under the boot insole, another stitched inside a jacket seam. Each bundle is more than a tool. It's a promise that if radios go silent and the exfil plan unravels, there's still a way out. In one 2017 operation, $300 in local currency changed hands at a remote checkpoint, turning suspicion into a nod. Later, $150 bought shelter in a safe house when every other option vanished. The operator's autonomy is not just tactical, it's psychological. Charles Beckwith's creed lives on. Trust the man on the ground to decide what survival costs. The cash is silent, invisible, and always ready. A last resort that makes every operator a free agent when everything else is lost. Every dollar issued to a Delta Force operator is tracked, even when the details remain behind layers of classification. The Special Operations Contingency Fund, managed by JSOC, allocates these cash reserves as part of mission planning, not as loose change. While receipts are impossible in a war zone, and many transactions leave no paper trail, the flow of funds is subject to quarterly review at the National Security Council level. Audits are built into the process, with ledger entries and post-mission debriefs documenting how money is spent whenever possible. The oversight is not just bureaucratic, it is a matter of national policy. Commanders and finance officers argue that the operational return on investment for contingency cash is unmatched, with internal estimates claiming a 15-to-1 ratio in terms of actionable intelligence, safe passage, and mission success. The system is imperfect, but the accountability is real. In the world where Delta operates, cash is both a weapon and a responsibility, watched as closely as any other tool in the arsenal. Every Delta operator steps off the ramp with $10,000 hidden on their body, classified, untraceable, and entrusted to their judgment alone. In an era obsessed with technology, it is still human decision and a stack of cash that can change history at the edge of the unknown. What would you do?